Okay, welcome back to the channel. Today we are installing 3 duplex outlet receptacles on an existing power pole.
For this, we gotta wait on the electrician.
In case you are wondering why an office would need extra receptacles, well, I'm glad you asked. There's people that come to work that not only have their computer, their monitor, and printer that are plugged in, nothing wrong with that. But there's people coming with walking pads. They have an air fryer. They have a toaster oven, a warming blanket, a foot massager, mini fridge, air fryer, toaster oven, even a blender. You at your desk making smoothies in here? Just a total disregard for everyone else at work. I mean, this should make you angry. Just use the receptacles as if they're at home and not at an office setting. This doesn't make sense to me, but hey, let's just get into it. So here you notice that I am measuring about 15 feet of 12 gauge copper wire for our power, neutral, and ground. You always run a pull more wire than you believe is necessary. About 15 feet there. Here's the existing power pole that we have removed. And one thing that I've noticed is electricians are problem solvers.
What do you mean by that?
You have to see a work order and figure out the best way to complete each task. When we remove the current power pole, there's additional wire that we can use. And what we had to do was decide if we wanted to use this extra wire and what we wanted to use it for. Do we want to use it for receptacles? Do we want to use it just to join together in the ceiling and connect it to the power source? So here we decide to cut off additional wires, and here I am stripping the neutral wire.
That's it.
And this will go on the back side of the power pole. Once I have stripped the wire, I then, using the needle nose pliers, and make a hook that will go around the receptacle. You want to make sure that the hook is tight enough that it fits around the receptacle and tightly around the screw, so when you're tightening it, it holds and you don't have to worry about any connection issues. Just finished the power wire here. Now here's a receptacle. You see here the gold, the silver. The gold is your hot, silver is your neutral, and green is your ground. If you're dealing with a faded receptacle, you always know that the wider slot is your neutral and the smaller slot is your power, or what we like to call the winking eye is your neutral side. Always remember that. Now, when you have your receptacles and you have any unused terminals, you want to make sure that you screw in that terminal. So what this does is just prevent accidental contact with any energized components, which can cause any short circuits. Now we're landing our neutral to the silver wire, to the silver screw.
This terminal. Go ahead and tighten it down.
There we go. Now we're going to tighten this, and you want to make sure your hook is facing clockwise. This is also for safety and securing electrical connection. Rotation of the screw pulls the hook tighter around the terminal, which gives it a stable connection. And lastly, we are going to strip our ground wire. This is a different type of stripping here. Some people call it the Chicago loop. I'm not sure what we call it, but this is something that the journeyman suggested that we do, and it is safe. And what we're going to do is make a loop here, and this we will put around the ground screw and be able to tighten it here.
receptacle. I'm going to remove these screws so they can fit into this pole here. And we're going to run that current wires here and cut them to the same length there so we can join them together.
You see here I have the electrical tape. There is nothing in the code, NEC code, that states you have to do this. This is just a preferred method for safety. This will prevent any accidental contact between any exposed screw terminals or wires, which just creates another barrier. Now, this is just a preference to go around the receptacle twice, just to make sure that I'm holding it and having it as tight as possible to the receptacle. Leave no room for any wires to slip out or come off the terminal in any kind of way. So now that that is complete, I'm going to put our screw in the middle to secure the receptacle to the casing of the power pole. Once that is complete, now I'm going to prepare the wires for stripping and jointing. Before we do that, we definitely need to make sure all these wires are the same length. Why is it important to have the wires the same length? You want them the same length because it just makes it easier to joint together. You don't want wires of different lengths because that just makes an issue and you may have problems joining together. So I know my stripping is a little slow and unorthodox, but hey, I will get better with time. And if you notice my exposed wire on those two green ground wires there, they're not long enough. It's not enough copper showing or exposed for a wire nut to properly grab and make that connection secure. NEC code does not have an exact length requirement for stripping for joints, but my journeyman suggested at least 1 inch of copper to be exposed. Stripping too little wires I have done here can lead to poor electrical contact. So what I'm going to have to do is go back and strip these wires a little more, with a little more length in them to expose more copper wire.
That's a good idea.
Now that I have stripped a little more of the sheathing off to expose more copper, I am now going to gather all like what we'll say is colors here. You have your black, white, and green, but this is your power wire. And we're going to also grab the like stranded wires and twist those together. When you have stranded and solid wires mixed as we have here, you always want to take your alike wires, your strandeds in kind, and twist those together before you add in your solid wire. So what we want to do here with the solid wires, we want to take it and wrap it around your stranded wires that you have already twisted. This is something my journeyman suggested, and it just makes it easier to wire nut together. I will be on the lookout and open to suggestions of any other methods that may be worth trying out or may be easier as an electrical apprentice, and I'm open to sharing these things with you as well. And the same thing works if you have 3 solid wires and you have 1 stranded. You would take all of the solid wires, twist those together. You can use your clines, or you can use your hands, whatever you want to use that's more comfortable for you, but do the same steps. Take all your solid wires together, twist those, and then you take that one lone stranded wire and you wrap it around the solids. So here for the ground, we have all stranded wires, which makes it easier, and all we have to do is twist those together, and then of course we wire nut those together. You don't want any exposed wire hanging out of the bottom. That would pose a safety or a connection issue. So here we are going to joint those together in the ceiling.
After I connect these wires down here, joint these together, that will then go to the power source in the ceiling.
Here's the finished product.
Plugs? Plugs?
You have your new power pole with additional receptacles. Everything is in working order and everything is installed just as we found it, just with the additional receptacles. It's always important that after each job is complete, you want to make sure you sweep up, tidy up, and leave everything as you found it. Even if your journeyman is currently working on something else, or if he is in the ceiling, or if he's turning the breakers back on, or if he's testing the power, whatever he is doing, you always want to make sure you stay busy doing something. You don't want to be caught on your phone. You don't want to be caught doing nothing. You don't want to be caught sitting around. Even though a job may be complete, there's always the belief that you could be doing something. So act busy. And thank you guys. I appreciate it. This is the video on how to install additional receptacles in a power pole.
I got the sweat, part of them. Shorty have me drip, proud of them. Put it on the jet.